Well, howdy ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Maverick, and since it's a Friday, it is time for us to continue watching Steinsgate with episode 6. So, last episode, Ritaru and company hacked into CERN, and they found out that CERN was actually actively researching time travel, and in fact, it did have some, I guess, semi-successful experiments, depending on how you want to define success, right? So anyways, they made a declaration that they are going to be the first ones to complete this time travel device, which I would argue is already completed since Rentaru already went back through time, in a sense, I think, maybe. But we'll just see what happens, right? And a lot of you guys have been giving me some comments that the foreshadowing and the clues and hints and whatnot are actually in fairly obscure places. So I'm just gonna go into this episode looking and scrutinizing every single little detail and camera, any close-up from the camera. You guys made me do it, but let's just see what's gonna happen. Alright, so let's just start right now. And let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Just a word of disclaimer though, I am kind of drunk right now. It is a Friday. Okay. By the way, shouldn't they have removed that satellite a long time ago? Like, I feel like it's not proper policy to put that there for so long. Oh. Alrighty, so what's the matter with you? August the 2nd. Butterfly effect. Alright. Is that a clue? She's eating meat? I like to eat beef bowls as well. She's like, I really don't want these guys here. Ah, hey Mayuri. I love that Tuturu. Oh, hey. The whole gang's together. Hmm? Actually, I agree with that, since round table is just an expression. Yeah, get to the point. Oh? Hmm. Still name such a change. Alright.
僕らメールを過去に送る実験には成功してね。たったの2回だけだ。しかもどのような時にその現象が発生するか。
Hasn't hasn't Rentaru considered the fact that he has some divergent memories?
過去へ送れるメールでは言いにくい。まずは名前をつけるところから始めようではないか。はあ？またカッコつけ？またとか言うな。この法を隠居魔をバカに。どうせへんてこな名前をつけたいだけでしょ。してな。ならば発表しよう。俺はこの過去へ送れるメールという現象についてこう名付けた。
Do tell. Nostalgia. I think that's an okay name. Hey, that's a cool name. Alright. Nostalgia Drive is fine. Oh. Back to So they're making the Back to the Future references themselves. The email? As opposed to email? As I was saying, so Rentaru hasn't even considered the possibility that maybe he's traveled back to the past? Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. First try to replicate the exact conditions. You guys are relying on a high schooler. Tondeke. Nothing's gonna happen this time, is it? Oh, just like that? It's just... Oh, nothing happened. Oh! Just like that? Really? No, 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 no. Now that you've got the initial hypothesis, you need to test it. To another time.
セ氏2通送った？
1通だけ。2通に分割されてる。
ちなみにこの文章の意味は？
自分で調べれば。
そういえばさ、
Now they should, yeah, they should check it against times besides 12 and 1.
遡った時間も同じく5日だったし。ああ、何か法則性が。あ、ということはあのメールは頭空っぽのバカだということか。気づくの遅すぎる。クリスティーナ、土佐が紛れて。ちょっと待て、こんなに買ってどうする？食料は保存の効くカップ麺で十分だろう。チョコも特用のが一袋あればいい。だって実験成功のお祝いだし。いいから戻してこい。チェケチクサ。
Who's paying for this, anyways? Is this a clue?
そうだ。実験成功と浮かれていたが、俺たちはセルンの恐ろしい機密を知ってしまったのだ。マユリまで巻き込んでしまって。本当に良かったのか。
No, hey. What's your name again? Shining Glasses? Or whatever the heck it was. Oh, Shining Finger. Shining Glasses.
なんだ？さっきから何をしている？
携帯持ってないの？
この法院京馬の携帯は今人類史に名を残す偉大な実験に使用中のため、ここにはないと。オカリン、そちらのエロい、あ、いや、セクシーなはどなたでありますか？ふむ、紹介しよう。シャイニングフィンガー、
Moika.
三次元に希望を持っていた時期が僕にもありました。いいか、俺たちは人類史に名を残すであろう実験。
名を残すのはいいけどさ、店長がすっごくイライラしてるわけ。2階からの振動がすごくってさ、家賃1万円アップするぞこらとかなんとか。
Hmm.
1万円。よし、ここは俺に任せろ。だが助手にしばらく実験をやめるよう伝えてくれ。了解。ウォーター、今最高に輝いてるよ。
マキセ・クリスもまだいるの？
ああ、そういえばさっきもじっと見てたな。この前といい、なぜ奴にこだわる？過去に何かあったのか？
In the past? In the future?
何もない。
そう。あれは8歳の夏、ミシシッピの河川敷で逃げ出した赤耳が。
ないって、この前が初見。それより早く店長に謝りに行った方がいいよ。
お前ら一体上で何やってんだ？さっきから何度も派手に揺らしやがって。
実は人類の科学史を塗り替える世紀の実験中でしてね。しかしご安心を。今日はもうこれ以上は。
Oh.
やめろと言ったのに。何をしてるか。実験は中止だと言ったろう。最後にもう一回だけってマキセ氏が。
メールしたんだけど見てない？
見られるわけなかろうが。
5日も前に忠告したのに。
ふざけるな。
あとなんか実験以外でもオカリンの携帯何度も鳴ってたよ。
How you, well, hey, how you, oh.
なんで直接言わんか。
どうしたの？なんだかわからないけど、
Hmm.
カルシウム足りてないみたいね。ま、データは十分取れたし、D メールの法則についても大体わかったからいいけど。
Really?
D メールが遡る時間については、タイマーの1秒が現実の1
There we go.
120秒で5日。それで5日前ってわけ。
いつ送るか調整できるの発見したのはすごくね。 だが送れる文字数は英文で最大36文字、日本文で18文字だ。
Hmm.
少なすぎる。改善したいところだな。
きっと大きなものとかたくさんは送れないんだね。あ、もしかしてそのカーブブラックホールの
Cur.
ブラックホールね。そのブラックホールの穴がきついんだよ。
Shut up, Hitaru!
詳細な検証は明日以降に行う。だが、これだけは宣言しておこう。2010年8月2日は人類史にとって永遠に記憶に残る日になるであろう。なぜならこの日、我ら未来ガジェット研究所は人類史上初のタイムマシン開発に成功したからである。
No, I mean, CERN has done essentially the same thing up to now. Thank you, Hitaru.
偶然使えるようになっただけ。
どいつもこいつも俺の堂々たる宣言に敬意すら払わんとは。
でもオカリ、実験がうまくいってよかったね。
Suddenly getting all sentimental? I'll go back and look at the whiteboard later.
あんたは移動なんてしていない。ここでは空間と時間が入れ替わっている。
イベントホライゾンか。
あんたは空間を移動することはできない。時間だけが延々と引き伸ばされている。
Mm-hmm.
1秒が私には永遠となる。
宇宙の果てが逃げている。
Because time slows down for the outside observers when they look at somebody falling into the event horizon.
永遠は無限ではない。永遠に向かって時間が引き伸ばされようとも、終わりは存在する。
1秒後はいつやってくる。
Hmm.
前を向いて、たどり着いて。
Basically, that entire part is, the predictions of general relativity. Just in a more poetic form, if you will.
またメールか。相変わらずのしつこさ。昨日はごめんね。これからそっちへ行っていい？まだ寝てるとは考えないのか。もしかしなくても寝てた？なんだと？
She refuses to communicate directly.
なぜメールする？目の前にいるのに。見ないぞ、直接言え。見せるのはいいが、こんな朝っぱらから来るとは。あ、そうか。貴様本当の狙いはこの俺の取材だな。なぜ喋らない？なるほど、そういうことか。この俺、今日のマッドサイエンティスト。
If she was from the future or something, maybe she's trying to keep her interactions to a minimum?
5100、
Hmm.
見せてほしい。
いいだろう。しかし見せるだけだ。そして見たら帰るのだ。それでいいか。
Hmm.
こいつもしかしてただのレトロ PC マニアか？俺の顔以外だ。もし取ったらお前の口封じをするしかの。貸してほしいんだけどダメかな。運ぶのを手伝ってくれる。なぜ貸すのが前提になっとるのだ。それに本当に貸してほしいのならこっちを向いて直接話せ。
貸してくれるの？
残念ながらダメだ。そもそも俺も一時的に借りただけだ。使い終わったら元の所有者に返すことになる。 し神社だ。
グーテンモルゲン。お、確か昨日の桐生氏？
昨日は紹介していなかったな。マイフェイバリットライトアーム、スーパーハッカー。
Hey, that's the hacker you're looking for.
スーパーハッカーだって。あ、そうそう、それより電話レンジちょっと改良しようと思うんだよね。今結構めんどい手順が必要じゃん。 D メールを過去に送るのにさ。
You just say it.
聞き違いだ。過去にメールを送るではなくてだな。こりめを送ると言ったのだ。これは今は失われし古代シュメール語で朝ごはんもう食べたの意味で。
And the next one is also going.
実験する
This guy.
俺だ。まずいことになった。いや、そうじゃない。8号機の情報が第三者に漏れた。ああ、分かった。
どういう状況？
僕たち全員カレーにする？
食い止める。機関に知られるわけにはいかん。通話中にメール。
ひょっとして
FB? Facebook? First Blood? FB? What's that an acronym for?
秘密を知られたからには仕方がない。桐生萌か。貴様は今日からラボメンナンバー005だ。
Just like that? Okay. What? Alright. That was completely out of the blue. Oh? Alrighty, this was a relatively uneventful episode compared to the past few ones. Not really that much to talk about, only two major things that I'd like to touch upon. One is in regards to the, I guess, mechanics or rules, if you will, of the phone microphone. Not that a lot of the stuff that was derived we already knew about, but I guess the main things that were new to us was the fact that 1 second on the microwave equals traveling back 1 hour in time, and as well as the character limit on the amount of information that could be sent back. Now, personally, when I was looking at this episode, I was thinking, like, you know, you guys are scientists, right? Or at least you guys are on the path of becoming scientists. I know that they're, you know, like Ocarina Rintaro is still a student, the rest are still students, but still, they should be already applying the scientific method and whatnot, and to have a very rigorous framework in order to start testing things, right? Like, if that was me in that situation, you would bet that I would be testing my ass off on all kinds of different things, like looking at what exactly I can change or modify in order to replicate the situation, right? So in this case, Rintaro made the prediction that it can only happen within a certain amount of time. Well, what would happen if they tried to send a message outside that time, right? And, you know, even some more basic things. What would happen if you change the make of a microwave? If you change it to another microwave? What would happen if you change the model of the cell phone? What would happen if you cut the electricity in half? You know, those kinds of lots of different variables that they can test out. I guess in this episode, they kind of copped out in a way where, you know, the landlord was getting angry at them for carrying out experiments and whatnot, but still, like, come on. It's the discovery of us. I feel like they are a little bit too, how should I say it? Unenthusiastic about this entire thing, considering that they just discovered viable time travel. But hey, maybe it's just me. I feel like I would be freaking out and doing all sorts of different things. I would probably not be sleeping. Let's put it that way. So yeah, anyways, that's that part. And again, I'm not sure like how hard or how closely related with science that this series actually is. And for the past few episodes, it's actually impressed me with its coverage of different scientific topics and applying them within the anime itself. Even though some of the concepts might be a little bit more outlandish or a little bit more theoretical, they are still rooted in actual science, right? It's not completely fictionist or something completely out there. So that's why I don't really know what to expect right now, so I'm just holding it up to maybe a more scientifically rooted anime. And speaking of scientifically rooted, so one thing I did really like about this episode was the entire dream sequence of Rintaro falling into a black hole, right? So it was a sort of more, I guess, poetic in a kind of way description of the events, but that actually does also follow the physics of what happens when a person or some object falls into a black hole, both from the mainly from an outside observer's point of view, right? So what I'm saying by this is that, say for instance, Rintaro is falling into a black hole, I don't know why, and then let's say that, some distance away Mayuri is observing Rintaro, right? So what actually happens is, due to time dilation, due to the effects of gravity, due to the effects of the immense gravity in regards to a black hole, to Mayuri's or to an outside observer's point of view, the person falling into the black hole will turn, time will slow down for them, right? So for the outside observer, it seems that they are going to travel slower and slower and slower, and also they will grow redder and redder and redder due to redshift. Eventually, it will become so red that the wavelength of light will completely cross the threshold for human observers, so then the object falling in will just completely disappear from our view. We will never see it actually fall into the black hole. It'll just, travel ever more so slowly towards the black hole, and then eventually just grow redder and disappear. So that is what they are referencing here when they say it seems like an eternity, right? So it's an eternity relatively to what the object that's falling in is observing. Now the object that's actually falling in, its time is going to be normal for them, right? They are still going to fall within the black hole, across the event horizon, and reach the point of singularity according to their own time frame. So time will still seem completely normal to them. Although it has been theorized that if they were to turn their head around and look at Mayuri and whatnot, and the universe behind them, potentially what would happen is they will see everything speeding up as well. So everything outside would start changing and changing and changing and whizzing by the more that they fall in. This latter part is not confirmed. The former part is more in line with what we already predict from science. The latter part is more speculation. But I do like how they sort of touch upon this within the episode, using a more roundabout way of describing it, right? So yeah, and really, these things combined. Anyways, what I really want to do is, what I really want to know is whether they're going to explain the mechanics of how this actually works, right? Because as far as we know right now, it seems that what's happening is they are creating a micro black hole within the phone microwave, and it is through this micro black hole that the information is being sent, and then crossing to a different dimension, different universe, or just traveling back in time, a loop within space-time, if you will, to the past. So yeah, not sure if they're gonna explain that part, or maybe, as some people have pointed out, I might be overthinking some of these things. But it's fun to speculate in regards to the scientific portions. And really, not really much else to talk about. The Shining Finger Girl, Moeke, or whatever. Still not sure what her entire situation is. Not sure what the Zura girl is doing or whatnot. So, you know what? I think we should just get into the next episode and see what's going to happen. So, I'm gonna go watch the next episode right now. I'll see you guys in a second.